Hi everyone, welcome to School for Parents. I thought I would start with this live and hopefully we get a lot more engagement and you can ask some questions while we're doing this. So we were supposed to be on YouTube today, but unfortunately technology is failing me. So we will have to come through TikTok. So we'll just wait for a couple of our followers to join us and we can get started. Hi Raisa, thank you for joining. Hi parents, welcome. I'm glad to have you here with me today, and I do hope that we can have a quick but productive session where we chat about parenting through the digital age. And I think we are all challenged by this to some extent. I think it's a challenge for ourselves, not just as parents, but as adults as well. So if some of you could comment, I'd love to know from you, how many hours do you think your kids spend on their devices? Just a rough average. What do you estimate it at? How much do you think? Hours, minutes, whatever metric you want to use. How long do you think your kids are on their devices? Well, there's lots of statistics out there across the world, globally, and I think different countries see different statistics. And I think the point of having this live today is to help parents understand that it's not about controlling your kids or banning screen time, because in all reality, we need to be able to use devices. Devices are not going away. Technology is evolving. So being a parent that takes away the devices completely does not work at home. Okay, and if you've tried it, you're going to know that if it did work, it's only for a very short time. So lots of parents also tell me that they feel guilty, they feel frustrated, they feel helpless actually with managing the devices at home with their kids. And they feel like, they're just hitting a brick wall because they know that they need it. And they want their kids to be distracted by it sometimes because they don't have the bandwidth to be managing with their kids. And it's easier to give your kid a device, let them play a game or watch a video, whatever it is, because then your kids are not pestering you, right? And that gives you some free time to cook a quick meal or clean up something or have a quick conversation that you need to have. So these devices definitely come in handy. And sometimes we use that or we misuse that as parents because we want to enjoy that benefit of having our kids being distracted. So today's live that I've put together is to basically take you through some of those pros and cons and help you decide what is that medium ground, what is fair, what is suitable, because we know we need devices, right? It's not going to end. We need devices, our kids need devices, and it's not possible to take it away. So how do we manage it? That's what this live is about. It's to help you manage it. It's to help you understand what is the middle ground. Okay, so kids are not watching television as much as they used to in the past, and that shouldn't be surprising for us. So television is being replaced by short form videos, and that would be the form of reels, TikToks. Kids are consumed now on gaming consoles from birth. They have a tablet, they have a smartphone as early as 2 years old. Kids between the ages of 0 to 8 years old, at least 50% of them in an American study are addicted to platforms such as TikTok, Reels, Instagram. And yes, we do want to encourage that interactive learning and that creativity that it does present, but there is also a gap of supervision. And this is where parental controls become really important, right? Because we need to be able to guide our kids around these experiences. As young as that, they are not exposed to understanding the safety of the internet and the safety of that world that exists. So, parents, we have a lot more exposure in this area, and I would think that we are setting the right parental controls in place for our kids when they are starting off as young as 0 to 8. So, some of the dangers that parents are concerned about is the social development skills, social and emotional skills, language development skills, sleep. Our kids do not sleep well, obesity. And there's also recent claims of myopia, which is being short sighted. And this is all being associated to screen time. So while there are multiple studies happening around the globe around this, we cannot wait for those studies to be verified and confirm this, right? We should understand this. And while, yes, our parents may not have had these challenges, parenting us, because we didn't all grow up with devices. So it's fairly new for us as a parenting challenge to go through. But we cannot wait for science or research to tell us that there needs to be a considerable measurement in place, right? We need to act now. We don't need the data to tell us that, staring at your screen hours on end is going to cause short-sightedness. We understand this because we can already see it in their patterns. We can see this when they withdraw in their rooms and they are not spending time sufficiently with their parents. They're addicted to their conversations, chatting to their peers, and there's limited family exposure, okay? And this is what we want to take back control of. We want to take control of these devices. To be completely honest with you, I've also got a teenager, and my teenager, I recently found, had his device controlling him. It was not him leading the device. The device was taking complete control, whereby the homework was being ignored, the tasks that needed to be performed at home were also being ignored, and it starts to take a toll throughout the family, right? It's something as simple as the device, and we don't realize the magnitude of what these problems spiral out of control into. And eventually it became, he's now getting late for school, and his sister is now getting late for school, and I'm getting late, and then there's a ripple effect of tension and unnecessary stress that we don't need. And it's purely because the device is taking control. And, it's not something that we notice or we see coming. Us ourselves as adults have also become a victim to devices and what they are doing. They are leading to shorter attention spans. Have you found this, that when your kids are on devices, sit with them and co-view the content that they view and look at how long they spend on a particular video or short or reel, and watch how many seconds it is, because their attention span is so short. And what is happening is that these devices are now starting to program their brains into, I need this quick reaction, I need quick information. And this is not really the way the world works. Yes, online it may be so, but in reality, people do not speak that fast. We do not read that fast. If we're consuming academic knowledge at school, it's not going to happen that fast. And this is when kids start to lose attention. When a teacher is talking in the classroom, we speak at a normal human speed. And our kids start to lose attention because they have been brainwashed by the devices, moving at such a speed, consuming content at such a speed that they now can't concentrate when the teachers are speaking because the teacher's too slow. But neither can they read as fast if they were given their textbooks as well. So what we are trying to say is that parents, technology is not going anywhere. These social media platforms are not going anywhere. Someone's making money and bucket loads of it by taking away from family values because parents are not aware of the long-term effect of what's happening. We see it coming, we understand what's happening, but we don't necessarily act on it. Sometimes we think that, our kids are going to use their better judgment and they're going to be able to turn their devices away. But I want to ask you a question. When you are scrolling on your devices before you sleep at night, how easy is it to switch off that device and get to bed on time when you're supposed to be at bed? It's not easy, right? I myself, I know this because I live off my device. I work off my device. I read emails through my devices. But while I'm also doing that, I'm also across multiple social media platforms, sometimes for work and sometimes, yes, definitely for leisure as well. So we are adults. We are aware of this knowledge, right? And we need to take better control to help our kids get through this process of creating balance between, yes, we need the device, and how much of time is good or how much of time is not good enough. So some parents also describe this as a bewitching buzz of being online. And they want to protect their offspring, they want to protect them because they're becoming little digital drug addicts. And this age of modern technology is here to stay, and parental controls can definitely help us. Also, when we have younger kids and we are downloading apps for those kids, please check all of the parental controls before you download, right? Check the age appropriateness of what is happening, and wherever there are safety features offered, take it up so that you can keep an eye on what your kids are doing. It's the same for gaming as well. There are lots of parental controls that are available for gaming. My son loves to play Fortnite, and I also get notifications sometimes. They tease friends across chats, and this one time they even banned him for saying something that was nasty, and I went back to the chat and I had to look at it. But I appreciated that the platform was now flagging something for my attention as a parent, because we assume they are talking to their friends and it's safe, and we don't know what predators also lie out there. So in this case, I was alerted and I could go back to that particular chat and identify whether my child was actually honest and innocent in that situation, and the app had just flagged him for something that was not necessarily a cruel or nasty to another child. But the app flagged it as that, and I was actually quite happy that it did that, because it was placing all of these parental controls in place when I was not there, because I cannot be there to watch him throughout an entire game. So developing some key routines would be the solution, parents. We know what it's doing to our weight. We know what it's doing to our attention, to our eyes, to obesity, to our social skills. We know all of the dangers that are coming up. And we just need to learn a few more strategies. And that's what I wanted to chat to you about on this live. I wanted to give you a few practical tips that you could implement in your home. So one of the ground rules that I started to implement when I noticed that screens were becoming a problem is that there are zones where devices are not allowed. For example, when we are having a meal together, and we don't always get to have a meal together because of different schedules and priorities. But when we are sharing a meal together, there are no devices allowed, because I need to have proper attention, proper feedback, because when kids are fetched from school, they generally don't want to have a conversation with you at that point. They're still unpacking their day. They are still trying to figure out what has happened with their peers, and they're still very confused about their day, digesting it, processing it. So towards the afternoon, when they've had a bit more time to relax and calm down, I do not want devices in front of them, or in front of me for that matter, when we are having that family bonding conversation time. This is a time where we all align, understand what it's been like for each other throughout the day, and devices are not allowed at that point. Another rule that we have in place is that at a certain time, based on the different ages of our kids, they have a curfew for their devices. So it needs to go away at a certain time, because if I leave them to scroll, they will scroll endlessly, hours past the deadline. And then we have the problem the next morning when they need to get up and when they need to get through their routines, and the family needs to get out of the door on time. So setting up those zones will definitely help create some sort of balance. And I think as your kids get older into their teenage years, you need to negotiate those times. So as we all know, teens are a little bit more challenging, and we need to be more sensitive of their needs, because teenagers need to socialize through their devices. We understand that. And they're using multiple accounts. So parents, if you think that your kids have just one account, you may want to recheck that, because kids have multiple devices. they have different personas across different profiles. And if you tend to be too harsh and you take away their devices, and you're not negotiating the amount of time, not allowing them space with their peers, then they are going to access those devices in a very sneaky manner. And when I say sneaky manner, they're changing their passwords, they're changing their profiles, they're using Siri and voice commands to activate through those passwords that you may have put in place. And we don't want that. We don't want them to be sneaking around. They're just going to get better. They're going to get better than you to be able to access their own devices. So you want to give them a fair balance where the mobile devices are being utilized for what it should be, for educational purposes, socializing, entertainment, and it's not controlling their mindsets. Okay, when it becomes addictive, this is when parents have the biggest challenge at home. And sometimes we tend to be pushovers. Okay, we see this. It's the Gen Alpha. Okay, if your kids are between 0 to 12 years right now, then that would be the Gen Alpha. This is the first generation that is most addicted to devices. And then the Gen Z parents are the parents that would be just under 30 years or so right now. Those parents are the ones that are easily giving in to these devices because they have grown up with devices and they understand it, but they do not parent it because they also need the devices. So it depends on the age of the parent as well as the age of the kid, that we understand what is allowed in our family, what is our values, have we covered chores, have we covered homework, have we covered family connection time, and then yes, by all means, our kids need to have their social time or entertainment time across their devices. So screen-free zones definitely help. And what we could also try in those negotiations are the when and then rule. So the when and then rule is when homework is done, then you get 30 minutes of gaming or an hour on TikTok or whatever that may be. So the when and then definitely helps. Building a negotiation, an agreement between you and your child. So that could be verbal, it could be in writing if you want to get creative as well. And I think when you ask your kids to just switch off immediately, that doesn't work. It's actually going to lead to confrontation. When you demand a switch off immediately and you haven't prepared your child for what is coming, this is where we have conflict, and this is when it's harder for the kids to let go at that point. So if you pre-warn your kids, these are the curfews, these are the times that the devices get put away, then they understand this. And then 5 or 10 minutes before, you give them one more warning that it needs to get put away. And ideally, you want to give them the chance to put the device away, not having to come in and take that device away. But if you need to, then this is what discipline needs to entail. And we need to set these boundaries quite clearly, because unfortunately, children will try to get their way for as long as they can, and they will try and push you and push your boundaries. So parents, we have to stand firm. We understand the ripple effect. We understand the long-term effect of what these devices are going to do to our kids if we don't manage their time. So we're not trying to control, we're not trying to ban, we're not trying to take it away. We are trying to help manage that time and help them understand how they can manage their own time. We also need to model this behavior, parents. So if we are stuck on our devices and our kids are trying to talk to us or get through their day with us, and there's little eye contact, there's little attention, I need us to be honest and step back and take an inventory of what are we mimicking here? What are we role modeling in front of our kids? And no one's innocent. I mean, we all have challenges with devices. We are all drawn to it for whatever reason. Some of us live on it, on emails, AI, whatever the purposes are in our adult parenting lives. But we are still drawn to a device. We are not in the real world. We are not present with our kids and our families at that point. So you are still on a device, whether it's for work or entertainment or whatever excuse we want to tell ourselves, we are still on a device. So we have to be completely honest, realistic, and model the right behavior that we want to see. Okay. The other solution is to also provide solutions. So yes, if you take away the device and there's no device for an hour where your kid has been used to having the device around, what do you replace that time with? Because now they've got time on their hands, and the most famous line is, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. So we actually want our kids to be bored, because this is what allows the brain to reactivate and to think of activities or to think of tasks that they need to get through. So ideally, we would say, go get homework done. That's the easiest, right? But if the homework is done and it should be time for them to entertain themselves, but it's past the boundaries that you've set, then come up with alternatives, good old fashioned conversations, conversation cards, playing cards, taking a walk, going for a jog, playing with the dog, whatever it is. Come up with some solution that swaps out that time for them, right? Gets them to think about how they could use their time more productively. Exercise, whatever it is that is suitable for you, your kid, based on their age and personality as well. So it's not about perfection, parents. In summary, I think it's even if we make little changes in our home, it's going to lead to bigger wins for us and our kids. We want to be mindful. We want to be mindful of the time, monitor it, keep an eye on how long your kids are on their devices, right? It's not healthy to be glued to these devices on end where they lose track of time, they're not sleeping well, they're not eating well, they're losing social skills, they prefer to live off games and devices versus being in the real world. And please also be wary that we can't take it away completely. So just remember that. Try to negotiate, right? Especially with teenagers, be sensitive. Negotiate, keep it simple, keep it easy to remember, what is age appropriate, and what also aligns to your family values. So I'd love to hear more from you. Please follow School for Parents. We are across all social media platforms. You can also find more on my website. So I've put together more structured programs if you'd like to have a look at that. I have video modules that are available on my website. My website is cwswas.com, and that stands for Conversations with Swas. That's what my business is called. I'm a life and business coach, and School for Parents is one of my programs where I focus specifically on parents and I help them do parenting challenges. So I hope you've enjoyed today's chat, and do follow, subscribe, like, and have a look at our website. Let me know what you think. I have a couple of tools that I've also put onto my website so you could shop and you could implement some of these tools at home. Some of them are conversation cards, and I also have a notepad which consists of lunchbox notes which you can slip into your kids' lunchboxes. Some of them have some parent humor around that because I know parents struggle to apologize to their kids sometimes, so there's some apology notes in there. So have a look. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for your time today, everybody.